Hi there, Michael here for the first of the Elite Dangerous fiction diaries. In these diaries you'll be keeping up to date with what's happening with the stories to do with Elite and the setting of the galaxy and all the interesting stuff that goes on there. So before I get started, the first thing I'd like to do is thank three people amongst the authors who have been very helpful in putting together the background history for the Elite universe. So I'd like to thank Alan Stroud, Dave Hughes and T. James, as well as the guys here at Frontier, obviously, who are all working hard to put it all together. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting closer, and we're already engaging with all the other authors as well on day-to-day questions and so forth. So what we're going to do in today's diary is just provide a quick overview of the major powers in the Elite Galaxy. So as far as humans are concerned, we are the dominant power in the galaxy, even though we probably occupy less than 1% of its total area. There's three main powers in existence. They'll all be familiar to players of the previous games. So we have the Federation, the Empire, and the Alliance of Independent Systems. The Empire is one of the three great human powers in the galaxy at the time of the game. Its society and political structure is very similar to that of Imperial Rome at the height of its power. The Imperials are a very flamboyant people. They love to dress up to show show off their wealth and their majesty and glory. So in Imperial cities, you'll have fine statues and lovely works of art. Even their spaceships are lovely crafted with organic lines and clean shapes. So seeing an Imperial battle fleet, for example, is actually looking at a work of art almost. Of course, they're one of the older powers as well, so they can back up that might with some real power. The Emperor sits at the top of the political system. His word is essentially law. That filters down through the senators, who are responsible for large areas such as planets or even entire star systems. Below them we have the patrons, so they would be sort of equivalent to like mayors or in charge of a settlement or in charge of a company or something significant. Below that we have the clients, so these are important people, and then below them we have citizens, and they're just your general run-of-the-mill bods like you and me. Below the citizens we have children. They only have the rights that their parents give them. And of course we have slaves. Probably one of the more famous things that the Empire from the previous games is that slavery is legal. Although that being said, slaves have rights. So if you own a slave, and owning slaves is a status in itself, but you have to look after them, and you've got to take good care of them. So very unlike the sort of slave trade that most people associate with it, so the Europeans in a few hundred years ago. So probably the most important thing about the Imperials, as well as their love to show off and their flamboyance, is the fact that they're very honourable people. Now, that doesn't mean that a lot of backstabbing and political intrigue doesn't go on, but it does mean that they'll always try and make themselves look in the best light. Face is very important, so in their dealings they're very careful in how they interact with each other. So yes, honour and flamboyance probably are the main keywords for the Imperials. The Federation is the oldest of the human powers. It was first formed as part of humanity's expansion into space, and has existed roughly for 1,000 years now. It's a federated state where the Federation itself is comprised of states. Now, states can be large countries or they can be entire systems. It's a very similar political system to that of the United States currently. The society is also very similar, although you could say that the corporation influence is a lot more overt than that of the United States. Although some of you might think that's hard to believe, it's actually much more so in the Federation. So, for example, during elections and so forth, companies will be very forthright in who they expect their workers and so forth to vote for. It's a society of extremes. There are very rich people and there are also very poor people. They're very reliant on technology. Their clothing styles are sort of very simple, very egalitarian. They like to look good, but they're nowhere near as flamboyant as Imperial citizens would be. And the third power isn't really a power in its own right, but is a coalition of independents. So the Alliance of Independent States, in many ways, could be considered similar to the European Union is today, where you have a group of members that share some commonality, but they don't, for example, have the same power projection as the Federation and the Alliance and the Empire do. They won't react in all the same way. So in the same way that Europe has problems reacting in a consolidated manner, so the Alliance would have the same issues. And of course, that also means that culturally they're very divided. And you'll find also that on systems that border near Empire or Federation space, they will take influences from what's near there. So as with the Federation, corporations play a big part inside the Alliance, although again that differs depending on which system you're in. And some systems are actually completely owned by a ruling corporation. One of the big differences with the Alliance is the law. So with the Federation and with the Empire, the law is pretty much global within their systems. With the Alliance, there's quite a few variations. So they have some common law, like slavery. Trading in slavery is illegal, but some things like narcotics are legal in some systems, but illegal in others. Another example is trading in live animals. In some systems, that's very much illegal, and you'll be arrested and fined for it. Where in other systems, it's perfectly allowable. So when you're traveling in Alliance space, be sure that you're not accidentally smuggling something illegal. So one of the other things that we want to do with these fiction diaries is in the design decisions forum, we've asked people to provide us with questions that they'd like us to answer. So I've taken 3 here, and we'll go through them. So the first question is from Carsten. Can you tell us a bit more about the roles Thargoids will have in Elite Dangerous? So the Thargoids are the other major power in the galaxy that humans are aware of. Although we don't quite know the extent of their capabilities. Obviously, we've been to war with them a few times. So one of the things we do want to do with Elite Dangerous, although not in its initial release, is to expand on the story of who the Thargoids are, what they're about, and how they'll interact with humans. However, with the first batch of fiction that people are working on at the moment, you will start to learn some of the secrets of the Thargoids. And they'll certainly be present in the game when it starts, but they'll very much be a background encounter. So I can't reveal too much at the moment, but I can tell you that they're all girls. Our second question is from John P. He asks, as I understand it, there aren't any AIs in the Elite universe. Is that because they've been banned, or is it simply that it's not proven possible to create a true AI? So part of the secret history of the universe has been that AIs have been created on a few occasions, and they've proven to be so dangerous that they've basically been banned. AIs is one of the few things that the Alliance, the Empire, and the Federation will actively work together against to defeat if they have to. It's not made public knowledge because they don't want people to actually actively work on it, but things are kept behind the scenes to make sure such technology never develops. That doesn't mean, of course, that it hasn't, and it is believed that maybe 1 or 2 have escaped into deep space, but who knows? Maybe we shall find out. The last question is from Nicholas Van Reen. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly. If I haven't, then please accept my apologies. In the original Elite, many planets are inhabited by non-human alien races. Will this be maintained? So alien life in the galaxy is very plentiful. However, sentient life is very rare. So the various races and types of indigenous life that was reported in the original Elite are considered a dominant species for their planets. but they aren't sentient species. As far as humans are concerned, they've only encountered a small number of sentient species. So there was a sentient race on Achenar, which the people who later became the Imperials wiped out. There's the alien artifact that was discovered in the solar system. That's still a mystery, although we're hoping to start revealing a little bit more about where that came from in the future. And of course, there's the Thargoids. So thank you once again for everyone who's helping putting the fiction together. One of the exciting things is we're working with so many new authors. I think we've got 30 stories being put together. So I mean, that's simply amazing. So they will contribute to the fiction that is Elite. So thank you, everyone, and I'll speak to you again soon.